So, Preston, there is this new information that came out a while ago that we have another character who's been cast. Let me see if I can find his name. His name is Oscar-winning actor and Harry Potter alumni. I think I'm saying that right. Jim Broadbent.
The guy from Cloud Atlas guy.
Was he in Cloud Atlas?
Yeah, I think he's the old man that's trying to escape from the old folks' home.
He's also in Harry Potter as Slughorn, who I'm not a major Harry Potter buff, but this is like what the 10th actor?
My wife is. It's funny because I've never really seen Harry Potter or read it.
Really? Holy shit!
And my wife. Well, I mean, I've seen Prisoner of Azkaban, and I've seen the one where they have the contest, the chalice of
the Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire. I've seen those two. My wife is insanely into them, and yet she's never seen a Game of Thrones.
Wow, that's crazy.
So we have this. There's this divide.
Well, if you tell her who Slughorn is, she'll get it. But I had to Google this fucking dude. According to him, he's done 5 episodes in season 7, when season 7 has only 7 episodes, and according to him, he has done one major scene in each episode. Now, a lot of people think that this is Marwin the Mage, mainly because he said that a lot of his scenes are with Samwell Tarly, but he never revealed the name. So this could be Marwin the Mage. Now, Preston, explain to the audience who Marwin the Mage is.
Marwin the Mage is an archmaester at the Citadel, meaning he's the kind of higher level administrative academic, who is the archmaester of magic, which is a not very respected field at the Citadel. They have links of Valyrian steel that you learn when you study the science of magic. Maester Lewin had studied magic, so he had a Valyrian steel.
Is this in the books? Because I remember in the show he says how like all the maesters try it at some point and some fail.
All the maesters are required to try to light a glass candle, which is something that has not appeared in the show yet, which is a device that allows you to. It's basically Skype. But it's also Skype that allows you to enter people's. It's Skype plus Inception, so you can like, yeah, it's Skype plus Inception, so you can like go inside somebody's dreams, send them visions, or you can just talk to somebody, around the world. And so everybody's supposed to be able to. Everybody tries as an acolyte. You try to light a glass candle, and everybody fails, and it's part of your learning process. Mm-hmm. Marwin the Mage in the book has, we're not sure if he's lit the candle, he's ignited his candle, but he has a working, functioning glass candle, and is likely been going into people's dreams and talking across the continent.
Right.
And so and
he has been across like Essos.
He has. He's traveled the world. He was Miri Mazdur's mentor for a time.
Oh, for those of you who don't remember who Miri Mazdur is, she's that slave woman that Dany saves in season 1, who Dany ultimately kills by burning at the last episode of season 1. But go ahead.
Yes. He is a outcast at the Citadel, but Qyburn liked him and claimed that Marwin liked him as well. Oh. So we have an interesting connection between Qyburn and Marwin, and Marwin and Miri Mazdur. And then the most interesting thing about Marwin is that he also has studying under him one of the sand snakes.
Allegedly.
And right.
Let's put that out there, because I do believe that in one of your theories, which we will go into in a later episode, because I want to ask you some questions about your Dornish master plan theory. Am I correct?
Yes.
You're basically saying that in the books, one of these sand snakes in disguise is studying with Marwin.
Yes.
Okay, but allegedly, that will most likely, even if this guy is Marwin the Mage, that will most likely not be in the show. The whole sand snake thing. It would be cool.
Which is sad because Sorella Sand is the. I mean, there's 8 sand snakes, and even in the show, Oberyn says he has 8 daughters, but there's 4 adult, like, full grown sand snakes, and 3 of them are peas in the pod, and then we have a 4th sand snake who is a little different, and then we discover that she is studying with Marwin. And that's
once
where
again, we're not sure whether or not this person is the sand snake. So
right.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
I'm just putting that out there so everybody knows.
We're not sure. I mean, we do know that her ethnic background is the same, and that the person studying under Marwin is named Aleros, which is Sorella backwards.
Okay,
so,
but still, yeah. I know, like I'm inclined to believe you now. You're making me one of those people, but you're converting me into a tinfoily. But I'm one of those people where it needs to be confirmed. But that is very suspicious, and I'm starting to believe you. But the cool thing about Marwin in the books is that he didn't appear in Dance of Dragons, did he?
No.
Okay.
No. We have not had an update on the Sam story since A Feast for Crows came out. Which most of the stories we've had updates on. But yeah, we have not heard anything from Sam in over 10 years. So.
Okay. So it's likely that Sam's story in the book is undergoing what happened with Bran in season 5. They're probably just training under their masters, or whatever you want to call it. But in the books, last time we saw Marwin, he was on his way to go see Dany.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you think it probably is Marwin the Mage that he is playing? Maybe a character under a different name, most likely. But who do you
like what they did with the elder brother and
right?
And,
instead of it being the elder brother with the Hound, it's Brother Ray. So, who do you think this guy could be other than Marwin the Mage? Is there any other guy out there? I'm trying to think, but could he be? No, he's not any Greyjoy.
So they talk about. I mean, at the Citadel, there's essentially 2 maesters, 2 archmaesters that are given a lot of time. One is Maester Walgrave, who is a senile maester who was an expert at Ravencraft, who also had clearly some, a very interesting past, but he has now gone senile. And then there's, Archmaester Marwin. We hear of a half a dozen other archmaesters, but none of them are really given much time, so we don't really know what their full personalities are like. Yeah. So, I mean, it could be Walgrave. But
it's most likely Marwin the Mage.
It's most likely Marwin.
Okay,
yeah.
and do you think? Because he said he's in 5 episodes of 7. Out of 7, he's in 5. He says he has one major scene in each episode. Do you possibly think that he'll be meeting up with Dany at any point and being her maester? Because Dany has a right hand. She has a hand of the Queen. She has a captain of the guard. Like, she has almost everybody she needs for her own small council, except she does not have a master of ships, I want to say. Maybe Yara, but she doesn't have a Grand Maester. Do you think Marwin could be that for her?
That's a very good point. I mean, the maesters are supposed to they're supposed to be neutral, and they're supposed to send a maester to all the lords.
Right.
To prove that even if there's civil war, to prove that they are not biased, But of course, the question is whether or not they're actually manipulating everything behind the scenes. Yeah. Well, I mean,
you and these theories, damn, man.
Well, I mean, I'm saying, like, even if whether you believe the maesters are manipulating anything or not, we can say that characters in the books believe that the maesters are manipulating things.
Well, the maesters do serve as, like, advisors in some cases.
Right, which, and the character that believes that the maesters are up to no good, who in the book, her name is Lady Dustin, she points out, she makes a very good point that, okay, if somebody is your teacher of your children and your healer who's giving birth to all of your children and your advisor, like all of a sudden, he's put in a position where he can manipulate you. Like, how can you not take the advice of somebody that birthed your child or who saved your life? Or even if they fail to save your life, they're there to then like comfort you after somebody dies.
Mm-hmm.
How can you not take the advice of somebody who like comforted you after your wife died? These sorts of things, and she points these things out. She mistrusts the Maesters greatly because of the advice. In her opinion, the entire war of the Robert's Rebellion was set in motion by the Maesters, and she was, not very happy.
And in a
about
sense,
this.
it was also ended by a Maester, because a lot of people don't know this, but when Tywin came, during the very last days of the Mad King, when Tywin came to the King's Landing, the gates were closed to him. It was Grand Maester Pycelle who convinced the Mad King to open the gates to Tywin, and Tywin proceeded to come in and just wreck everything, and basically help put the final nail in the Mad King's coffin. So
yes.
You could be on to something here.
Yes, and I mean, there's a lot of little things like Maester Luwin is the one that manipulates things to actually send Jon to the Wall. Like, there's all sorts of little things when you go back and you look at these Maesters.
In the books, he does this.
In the books, he does this. Yes,
mm-hmm.
Yes. It's interesting because Jon in the books, goes to Benjen and he says, "Hey, I'd like to join the Night's Watch," and Benjen says, "No, like, don't join the Night's Watch. You're not ready yet. You're a kid. Like, you don't know what you're giving up." And it's very clear that Jon has been talking to Maester Luwin about it, and he says, "Well, Maester Luwin says that, I'm all grown up," and Benjen says, "No, forget about it." Later, Luwin then goes to Ned and says, "Well, Jon, he wants, or, Benjen came to me and I've been talking to him, and, Jon wants to join the Night's Watch." He completely manipulates, he changes the story. Benjen didn't want Jon to join the Night's Watch. And then Luwin goes and says that Benjen wanted it. And then Ned is convinced because Benjen, because Luwin claimed that Benjen wanted Jon to go.
I didn't really pay attention to that, but then again, I haven't reread Game of Thrones in the first book in quite some time. But I'll have to look for that. I don't want to think Luwin is that devious, but at the same time, yeah. So this is most likely Marwin the Mage. I don't want to be a kind of a jerk, but he kind of does look like that, like, nerdy advisor healer type of character. So
but that's the thing is Marwin is not supposed to look like that,
right? But at the same time, there's a lot of characters not supposed to look like this. Yeah. But there you go.
Marwin is weirdly supposed to look like a soccer hooligan. Even though he's an academic, he's supposed to look like some guy that you'd get into a fight at the docks over, like, he'd strangle you with his bare hands, that kind of like rough and tough kind of guy.
Which makes him like an interesting character, which I'm surprised. Well, once again, him being there is really tied to Sam. I'm surprised he wasn't really brought up earlier in this show, but it would make sense though, because it took Sam this long to actually get to the Citadel, which in my opinion I think he should have been at the Citadel in season 5, but that's just me.
Well, I think the show was unsure about what they were going to cut. Like I don't think the Ironborn didn't appear really in season 5, and then all of a sudden the Kingsmoot happens in season 6. I think during season 5 they didn't even know if they were going to do a Kingsmoot,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just kind of comes along. I think it's the same thing with the Citadel. They were probably saying, "I'm not sure if we're going to send Sam to the Citadel," and then they said, "Well, I guess we've got some time. Let's go and do it."
Do you think they've only, when they were planning the show, they only really planned it out till season 3 or 4?
Yeah, I don't think they planned after that,
because season 5, that's when it starts to go downhill a little.
Well, I mean, I often say season 6 is a rewind of season 5. Everything that happens in season 5 happens in season 6 again, mm-hmm. Right? Like, there's a battle for the North again. Like, there's a battle for Meereen again. Jaime wanders again. Like, it's
The sand snakes do stupid shit again.
Again, right? Like, yeah. So it's things move very slowly, and then they kind of happen over again. So yeah.
It's one of those things. And very quickly, I wanted to get into the premiere, the trailer. I wouldn't call it a trailer. HBO did some kind of like live event thing for something, and everybody was telling me about it. People like messaging me. I'm sure you got messages too. HBO was on like Facebook, and they had like this block of ice, and they were melting it with fire. Yeah, like we're getting it. We get it. and I thought we were gonna get a teaser. Not a trailer, because I don't expect an actual full-blown trailer until May or maybe April, but a teaser. For those of you who don't know, television shows and movies have, like two things to hype it up. A teaser, which is like usually less than a minute, or a trailer, which is usually more than 2 minutes. And Game of Thrones usually has a teaser and a trailer. I would expect this to have been the teaser, but it wasn't. It was just a bullshit spectacle just to see the premiere date, which was already leaked out. I mean, the guy who plays Davos, he already told us it was going to be in July. I didn't think it was going to be like this late in July, because Game of Thrones for the first time ever might actually go into September, because it's July 16th. So what's that, like 2 weeks, and then 4 weeks in August. And then
yeah, you're right.
Holy shit, that's weird. But like the one thing that's starting to dawn on me is that I kind of miss. And call me a jerk for saying this, I kind of miss when Game of Thrones wasn't a spectacle on HBO. Because you don't need to have a fucking block of ice with fire at it, just for the premiere date. Like, are you fucking serious? Are we gonna get like a Vegas-style circus show to show us Jon Snow's new haircut, like, in the new season? I mean,
it does screw with the expectations a bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do kind of remember like getting all pumped for season 6 premiere, and most of the first episodes, nothing happens. I mean, yeah, season 1, a lot of stuff happened in the first episode, but yeah, I mean, they're still setting things up, right? And so you get all pumped up for the premiere, and then it's kind of more setup.
Do you think it's because of Game of Thrones' popularity recently that they feel like they have to do this? Because I'm sure The Walking Dead did something similar, and I feel like Game of Thrones, HBO is trying to follow an AMC step. Like AMC, ever since season 3 or 4, has had this thing called The Talking Dead after The Walking Dead, and now I see Game of Thrones is trying to do something like that, like After Thrones show or some bullshit like that. Which,
yeah, I mean, they want to make it seem like if you're not part of this, that you're going to miss out on some sort of part of culture. Mm-hmm. That, like, I mean, I remember when I was young, like, they really tried to convince everybody my age that if you didn't go to, Woodstock 2 and 3 and you didn't go to Lollapalooza,
you're making yourself sound really old now.
I know. That if you didn't go to these things, like, oh my God, you've missed out on the event of the generation.
Wait, when was Woodstock?
Woodstock 2? Woodstock 2?
Oh, Woodstock 2. Okay.
Yeah,
because I was born in 91, so.
No, I'm not from the 60s.
Okay, I was about to say, like, I don't remember this.
I'm not George R. R. Martin here, okay?
You still sound so old. But yeah, like, it does feel like this is becoming more of a spectacle now, and I really do think it was like a missed opportunity. They did give us kind of like a new like visual, like, you know what I'm talking about, like the one where like the house sigils are fighting each other.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was definitely fun. It was definitely fun visuals. They could have, I don't know. So of course they used the wheel speech from Dany, which most people laugh at, like, about breaking the wheel. Like, that's not one of their best quotes, but
you think they should just stick to the book quote?
I mean, there's a lot of great quotes from Game of Thrones. I just, they're slipping my mind at the moment, but most people really made fun of the whole breaking the wheel thing.
Let me challenge you on that. I think, and let me know if you agree with this one. I think one of the best quotes for season 6, I think the best quote for season 6 has got to be Alistair Thorne's last words to Jon. If I had to make the same decisions again, I pray to God that I do. And
that's a good one.
And he said, this is something that's gonna fucking resonate me for the rest of my life, because I love this quote. I fought, I lost, and now I rest. I love that. I just think it's just such a great quote.
Yeah, no, that is a good quote. And I seem to really remember that I liked the Jamie Edmure talk, and that I remember it being really, that it hit me. And I'm sure there's something from that. I mean, Grant, I'm saying like it really hit me, but I can't even remember what he said. But like, I'm sure there's something from that was like, very, very good. Or, I don't know. I just think the break the wheel.
Was a
I'm
little
not sure.
underwhelming. Like she's just trying too hard to be tough.
I'm not, I guess.
Well,
I don't
hopefully,
know.
here's to better quotes in season 7. They only have 7 episodes, so hopefully they've put out all the stops, not only for the visuals, but also for the dialogue. But let's wrap it up for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed, definitely hit that like button, and be sure to check out Preston's channel, to which I will leave a link in the description below. The first episode of our podcast will be out within the next couple of days, so definitely stay tuned for that. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and have a good one.